Welcome everybody. This is a video I've been excited to make, and I even took notes because there is a lot to cover. So I completed my first foil set the other day, which is Mines of Moria, which we will jump into. But the premise of this video is I want to go over all of the foils in the Lord of the Rings TCG game. So let's buckle up because there's a lot. So the foils are going to fall into 6 buckets, and I'm going to go through each of the buckets sort of in sequential order. So, the order in which they were printed, and hopefully this video can serve as a useful tool for collectors, for players, for random people. But let's start off with the sets. So I have in front of me the One Ring Isildur's Bane. So this is probably one of the coolest foils in the game, in my opinion. So this is from set 1, R1, so it's a rare. So each set had foils in them. So I'm going to start taking you through my foil binder and kind of see what I mean a little bit. So this is my attempt at a Fellowship of the Ring foil binder. Unfortunately, there we go. So this has my partial Fellowship of the Ring. So there's 365 cards in here. So there's a lot of foils. You can see all the missing foils I have. So collecting these is an insane journey because each of the foils came in one every 6 boxes. So for Fellowship of the Ring, there's 365 foils, meaning you would have had to have opened 60 booster boxes, assuming 6 foils per box and sort of a normal drop rate and no duplicates. So collecting these from a foil perspective is just extremely challenging. And so if we sit and do the math, and I did to save you guys the time, there is a total of 1,839 foils across this game. So I can't even tell you, that's just for, I should say there's 1,839 movie block foils. So, I mean, some of these just look really cool. We're going to flip through these a little bit, and I'm going to keep talking. So, the bigger sets, so Fellowship, the base sets, Two Towers, and Return of the King are sort of notoriously difficult because of how many foils there are to collect. You can see I have full pages here missing sometimes. But there's some, like the Witch King, a lot of these rares, so, they're just hard to find. Like this Witch King took me forever to track down. So the foils dropped at the same rate for common, uncommon, and rare. So it wasn't more rare to find the rares necessarily. It was just, 60 booster boxes to get to 360 foils. So it kind of an insane amount. These are actually some of my favorites, the sites. So the sort of site path, I think they look really cool. So we're going to continue kind of going. You can just see all the gaps I have. But I did say that I completed one. So I completed the second set, which is Mines of Moria. So this is set number 2, and it is complete. And man, was this a long journey. So this is a smaller set, 122 cards. So not nearly as much to collect, but some of these, like this guy down here, the Balrog, this is a really awesome foil. The singles just go for like $100 because this is something that has appeal to a really wide swath of collectors because it's so iconic. And look at the foiling, it goes off the card. Just really cool. Really cool card there. I'm so happy that I got this all collected. So I finished my first foil set. I think maybe I am 30% of the way to 1,839, which is daunting, but I guess it's something just to work towards. So that's the first bucket, are going to be the set foils. So there's 9 sets. Each of the 9 sets is going to have every card foiled, so 365, and then it was 122 for each of the sort of expansions within the movie block. So that is bucket 1, and probably the most sort of common one you're going to see. The next one is set number 9, which was Reflections. So these are the Reflections foils. So there's 52 of these. And you can kind of see There's R foils as well as R plus. So the R foils are worth maybe 50 cents, and then the R plus ones range. So some, like Gil-galad here, this is, probably worth $50 and very desirable. But a lot of these other ones are really easy to find and pretty common. I'll pull out a couple more here that are a little more interesting. So these are the Reflections foils. They came in Reflections packs. So there's 52 total. This is probably, besides Gil-galad, this is probably number 2. Super iconic. Just great looking card. Great foiling. The camera doesn't really do this one justice, but I think this and Gil-galad are sort of the 2 big chase cards. There's some other good ones as well in here, but those are sort of the 2 that jump out as the chase ones. There's a Galadriel, which is pretty sought after, as well as Durin here is pretty sought after. So this complete set of 52 cards goes for around $500 or so. So, expensive. Ithelstone, this is another one that's pretty desirable. From a collecting standpoint, Reflections is doable, right? So it's only 52 cards. You can get it done. You can still find this stuff for sale. It's not nearly as much of a sort of, I don't know, scavenger hunt that finding the set boosters and the set, the movie block foils that we just went over. So Reflections, I think of all the foil sets, might be possibly the second easiest to collect. So this is Reflections. That's sort of bucket number 2. So first bucket was movie block. Second bucket was Reflections. Third block is going to be what are called rare foils. So starting in set 11, we've talked about this. In set 11, they rebooted the game essentially, and they also rebooted foils. So they decided that instead of doing every card as a foil, they're going to only do RFs. So there's 18 rare foils, and I think that these foils look, frankly, a little crappy. They didn't really know what they were doing. They didn't know what direction they wanted to go. So for set 11 alone, there's only 18 RFs, and these came 1 in every 6 packs. And so it's pretty easy to collect. These aren't terribly rare. I don't even really care about completing this set because I don't really think they're that interesting, frankly. But we'll go through them. I think I have maybe like 9 of the 18, or maybe like a few more. So Lurch is always cool. So that is set 11. So starting with set 12, which was Black Rider, they decided, well, actually, maybe we want to do something more than just the rare foils. We're going to introduce something called Masterworks. Okay, what are Masterworks? So Masterworks were brand new cards that were originally introduced as ring foils, and I'll get into why they were called ring foils, but I want to compare Faramir, which is so this is the rare foil Faramir. You can kind of see what he looks like. And then this is the Masterwork template Faramir. So he has a little 0, or I think they're actually called ring foils because they have this O here. They later kind of got the name of Masterwork, but you can see the difference here in how they look. The Masterworks just look phenomenal, in my opinion. And they got better with time. So these rare foils came 1 in every 6 packs, just like the same formula they used for the set booster boxes before with the first 9 sets. And then the Masterworks came 1 in every booster box. So these are sort of the ultimate chase card, and as the sets get more rare, then these become more expensive. So I don't actually have a lot of the Masterworks. I'll go over kind of all the ones I do have. And I have a couple from the later sets, which are like encased in steel, essentially, but I'll show those off. So let's go through the rest of the rare foils here. So we have the Faramir, we have Elrond. So these are all pretty interesting, I think. They get better. I think these look better than set 11 foils. So Faramir's Sword, Grima, the Balrog. This is pretty sought after, I think. Pretty cool card. So if you kind of compare, why is this Balrog foil worth less than set 2 Balrog foil, other Balrog foils? This was pretty, I won't say it's easy to pull, but this was being pulled from a selection of 18 rare foils, right? There's only 18 rare foils you could get. Not you're pulling it out of a pool of 122. So if you think about the Balrog, he would have come, 6 foils in a box. So you're talking about 22 boxes. There's going to be one Balrog. Versus this is going to be, 1 in every 4 or 5 boxes is going to have one of these. Maybe even a little more frequent than that. I'm not doing the math on it. But so that's why these rare foils are worth less than the ones from the movie blocks, just because you're thinking you're pulling it from this giant pool of cards. So these are the 12, kind of showing them off. Like I said, I think these are pretty cool. So I don't have a complete set of these. It's not a high priority for me, but so then we're moving into set 13. So this is Celeborn, Gandolf, Denithor, and actually I do have a Denithor Masterworks. So let me compare the Denithor Masterworks with this one. This is actually one of my favorite scenes. This is when he's like being gross, like eating a bunch of, so we can kind of compare the two and how they look. It's kind of a different foiling template. So this one obviously has the O there. This one does not. So this Denithor is probably worth 3 or 4 times the amount of this one. So this is a great scene. You can kind of see this is when he was like setting his son off to die, and he's like eating this like grotesque meal, and Pippin is singing. So pretty cool. I personally really like the Masterworks. They're just I'm kind of priced out of that a little bit. I have a hard time justifying some of the prices on them right now, but I think they're really cool. So continuing through the rare foils here, Aylmer, Frodo, and then we get into set 15. I think I've talked about this before, and I'll probably do future videos. Set 13 was called Bloodlines, and after set 13, the game becomes less and less popular and less of it's printed. So set 15 really just balloons in value. So stuff is way harder to track down. It's way more expensive. Booster boxes, I think a booster pack of hunters, which is set 15, goes for like $80 now. So this is stuff that gets pretty rare and hard to find. And I actually do have a Legolas here, so we can compare the two, how they look. I think the template just looks great. So you can kind of see the difference there. I'm trying to figure out the sleeves just give you like a shimmer. So you can find these on eBay, and I do think there's an increasing market for this stuff. I think people are seeing that this is a really cool, well done game, and a lot of new collectors coming into it, which is kind of fun and exciting to be around it. And hopefully these videos can serve as aids to those new collectors and old collectors. So finishing out 15, and I have 1 rare foil from 18. So that's kind of the highlights there. I will organize these again later. I have a couple Masterworks from set 18. So set 18 was Treachery and Deceit, and these are Masterworks from there, and these go for $300 to $400 a pop. That's why I have them in case. So I have Radagast or Herb Bag. So this little cricket meant it was from the expanded universe. So it's like, Boroning Axe. I'm mispronouncing it, so don't hate me. And then this is kind of a cool template here. So these are my 3 Masterworks from set 18. A set of the 18 Masterworks, so there's 9 of them. So there's 18 rare foils and 9 Masterworks. I think just sold for like $3,000 for set 18. So there's definitely a market for this. People are definitely interested. So that is going to be bucket number 3, is the rare foils and Masterworks from sets 11 to 18. So there was 6 of those. It was 11, 12, 13, 15, 17, 18. So that's going to be 153 foils in total. So if we had a little counter, we would be at 2,000 foils, just over 2,000 foils so far. So just a lot. We're going to move to the 4th bucket. You'll notice I didn't say 14, or I'm sorry, 16. Set 16 was a special print of Ring Wraiths. So this is called the Wraith Collection, and it is only foils, and I think they look really cool. These sell for, 250 to 300 plus. You know, there's only 6 cards, and they're all pretty useful in decks as well, from what I understand. So I really like the way these work. They're all kind of this alternative Nazgul art. So that's the fourth bucket, is going to be set 16, where there's only 6 of them, and they're all Nazgul, and they're all, well, I guess Wraiths technically. But this is kind of what they look like. So that's going to be the fourth bucket. So we're cruising along here. Let's move to our fifth bucket, which is going to be set 19. So set 19, I didn't really pull too much out because I don't think it's that interesting. But set 19 was the sort of ode where set 15, 17, and 18 were, sort of printed in haste. Set 19 was 40 fixed cards, so all you had to do is buy the box. It was called Age's End, and they just printed like millions of these things. You can still buy Age's End's the fixed foil box on Hills Gaming, or Hills Wholesale rather, for I think $40. So if you want the entire 40 card promo set, so it's 19, set 19, you can get it for $40. So I don't think it's actually that interesting. It's not that hard to find. It's still available kind of at a retail rate, but this is what the ring looks like. They kind of did all the hits. Set 19 is mostly like the fan favorite characters. So that's going to be bucket number 5. So quick review. Bucket 1, all of the movie block boosters. Bucket 2, reflections. Bucket 3, 11 through 18. So 6 sets there. Bucket 4, set 16. Bucket 5, set 19, which was fixed. And then our final one, arguably the most confusing of all, is going to be the promos. So promos were given out as prizes at tournaments. You can see here there is a P. So this is P13, P14. So the promos were mostly non-foils. So all the way up to promo number 69, except these 4 and 6, or these 3, and then 16, 17, 18, and 22, all were non-foils. Is that hard to remember? Oh, absolutely. So the promos are one part of this game that I don't get that into because I think they're a little too obscure for me even. But I believe the promos went up to around 160 or so. So after 69, they're all foils. And then there was also OD, which I think were sort of like extra promos that were given out that even I don't really know much about. Like I said, the promos I think aren't super interesting to me, but I do have a few cool things to show off. So this is the Aragorn promo. So this is, let me take this out so we can show it off a little bit better. This is one of the big chase promos. So you can see it's D-Agent exclusive. It's promo 127. This just looks great. It's our man. One of my goals is to get one of these signed sometime by Vigo. So this is my very small signed collection, if anyone was curious. I got a Grima, Alerts, Sauron, Gollum, and then Mary. So only 5 cards, but I'd like to get one of these signed someday. So that is the sort of promo bucket. It's probably the most difficult to collect. If you're coming into this and thinking you want to get into collecting these, I would just start with Reflections. See how it feels to collect and to find a community and stuff. I think Reflections is pretty easy to come across. And then I would move into the movie blocks. I think Mines of Moria, the one I just completed, set number 2, is not too difficult to complete. So I think those are good entry points. Sets, 7, 8, 9, or 7, 8, 10 can be a little tricky to find. And I wouldn't get discouraged. When all in all, I did a little bit of math. So you're talking about near 2,200 foils across our 6 buckets. 1,839 movie block foils, 52 reflection foils, 153 from 11 to 18, 6 from 16, 40 from 19, and I couldn't quite figure out how many promos there were, but I think it's about 100 promo foils. So you tally that all up and you're close to 2,200 foils. So This cannot be done in a day, but that's what's fun about collecting, in my opinion, is finding these sort of rare treasures. It's the treasure hunt portion of it. That's what makes this enjoyable. And you know, I would also say if you ever see foil rings, these are always big chase cards. So this is the foil ring from set 7. I think it's pretty cool. The one ring, this ring in grass. So these just look super cool. I'm really happy with my growing collection, and I'm hoping that these videos can inspire some other people to come over and try collecting this game. And please let me know if you have comments on the questions or if I forgot something. I believe that should be a absolutely complete history of foils in the Lord of the Rings TCG game. So looking forward to making more videos and content for you guys. I would love if you could drop a like and subscribe. It helps the channel. And it helps me justify me making these videos to my wife. So with that, I'm going to bid everyone farewell and have a good rest of your day.